Welcome back, everybody. I just wanted to say thank you for watching my last video. It did really well. I appreciate that. Let's just jump into it. Net neutrality was huge last week. Well, it's still important. We need to keep pressuring the government and the JITPI and everybody at the FCC. We need to let them know that it's still not okay. However, this week, there is just as big a news that has dropped today. What's happening this week? The big news of today, okay? Our government, all the big branches, and Trump have now agreed to and have voted on to allow the ISPs to sell your data. Yeah, your data is now up for sale, or will be shortly. The ISPs can aggregate everything that you do. Let's get into talking about that. So what happened? Well, some months ago, the government tried to push through some laws and regulations that allowed your ISPs to sell your data. Well, people spoke up, government officials listened. Some of them weren't really keen on it before. Well, now that the new administration's in, they have pushed it through because they have been lobbied to death. The ISPs have been lobbying them with as much money as they can pour into it, because in the grand scheme of things, the more money they spend on it, the better off they're going to be in the end. Once they get the ability to sell our data, the possibilities are endless for them. The massive amount of money that they're going to make off this is just staggering. And this should tell you something about the Republican government. The Republican governments generally are known for this type of tactics. The Republican governments are about talking about grassroots and being for the people and the disenfranchised, but really deep down, the Republicans actually, the big ones in the government at the top, highest levels, actually care about big business. They are out for the big business to make themselves money, to make the businesses money, because they don't really care about the people. And the things that they do, they know will slide for a very long time. And the better the big businesses are doing, the better that the Republicans in government are going to do, because it looks better on them and they're going to make tons more money. Okay, so what does this all mean? Why is this so important? Well, with the ISPs now having the ability to sell your data without asking, before they had to ask you, or you had to opt out, now they don't have to ask you, and that means that every site you go to, porn, Facebook, Amazon, wherever, it doesn't matter, whatever pages, like down to how long you spent on those pages, what you looked on, every piece of data that you can imagine is being tracked. Okay, now the ISPs before, they weren't really able to sell this unless you said, okay, go ahead. Well, now they can bundle this up and sell it to companies, which means there are going to be new companies popping up that this is what they do. They go through and aggregate your data. Some of you may not care. You may say, so what? I don't care that they know what I'm doing, I'm not ashamed. I'm not having anything to hide here. Well, good for you. However, what this means whenever the government actually goes forward and they kill net neutrality, which this is a really clear sign that they're going to. And when they actually do it, okay, now they can sell your data. They can make money off of you there, and there's nothing you can do about it. Okay, net neutrality gets destroyed. They're able to, at that point, throttle your traffic. They can say, I don't like the way you're looking at that site, you're going on this. If they don't want you to buy a product, they can block you from buying that product online. This is absolutely insanity. If you're not completely outraged at this, you fucking should be. You should be. These ISPs, they could block people like me from making these videos. I could make it all day, actually. I could make it here sitting in my house, but they could see that I'm doing research for these topics, then they could slow down my research, okay? They can now slow my upload speeds so slow to YouTube that I would never be able to effectively upload the video. They could stop the connections and just, okay, sorry, data dropped, now you gotta start the upload all over again. We are treading into very dark and dangerous waters here. And these people, they don't care about us. The government only care about money, and those lobbyists up there are seeing fit that we are nothing to them. All right, I don't want to be alarmist, but I'm going to break this down. Think about it this way. This completely erases privacy, as you know it, online. You are now officially being sold to the highest bidder, or multiple bidders. Doesn't really matter. They can sell it as many times as they want. They will know your name, your home address, your kids' schools, the bills you pay online. They know every item that you've ever bought because they can go back. They can go back and look at all the data that all those sites that you've been to before this, that the ISP stores, which don't you believe that they're storing that information. Okay. Now, a guy like me, technically savvy, I could already own a lot of information about you. If I have your name or just a little bit of information about you, I can find out a lot. I could end up finding out where you live. Okay, it may take me a little time. Now, it can be a lot easier. I can just go online. I can sign up. I can incorporate and do really simple few maneuvers and get to the point where I can buy your data. I can find out what everything I want to know about you at this point. With your browsing data, if you ever pay your bills online, if you ever do any searching, I can figure it out. Now, I've got your external IP address. Now, I can monitor your traffic directly from my home. The greatest thing about that, there's nothing illegal about it. I'm not invading your privacy. I purchased your data. I purchased the right to your data. I purchased the right to you. Okay? Imagine one person like me with all that control. And trust me, there are a lot of people out there that aren't good, that like me. I won't do that to somebody unless I absolutely need to. But there are companies out there that may not even exist yet, or branches of our ISPs that are going to be stood up, that will take your data and aggregate it, and then they'll be able to take all these bits of your life, like I just described, and make a perfect profile of you, to the point where they'll be able to predict when you're going to the bathroom, because there'll be gaps in your data when you switch to your mobile devices. Okay? Well, they know when you're at work, because your profile then switches to where you're at work. They know everything about what you search for at work. Your children will have a profile from the very second they log on, and people will be able to track them forever. For the rest of their life, anything they do can be held against them. There are a few things you can do. You can buy or pay for a proxy service and VPN services that will allow your traffic to be obfuscated away from your ISP. They won't be able to see the data that's traveling across. They'll just see that you have VPN traffic, but there are inherent negatives about that. Traffic's probably going to be slower, and you have to deal with an extra monthly payment, and it will include data caps and things like that. Not only that, but if the VPN services or whoever are not so scrupulous, they could be doing the exact same thing. They can collect all your data, and then they can sell them, because they're not restricted by laws like that. Now, they are restricted by laws, but they may not have, and I, as far as I understand, do not have those same restrictions. Just like Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, those companies are not restricted like the ISPs, and that is part of the reason why the ISPs want this so badly, because those other companies are making tons of money off us. We are able to opt out of those companies. We can say we don't want to use them if they sell our data. We can't do that with our ISPs. We're obligated to go through an ISP. There's very few people in this world that will be able to survive into the future without using the internet. It's just mandatory to make a living, to live life. I'll end this here, but there is still hope for net neutrality. We need to continue to tag JitPi, the FCC, tag everything you can. Hashtags, net neutrality, tweet, call, email their offices, do whatever you can. We have to stop this. We have to convince them that net neutrality cannot be killed. And we're going to fight to the death on this. Up on the screen, I'll have the link to Battle for the Net and the hashtags, everything that you need to tag. Do it on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, every site that you use social media, do it. Get it out there, say it, post daily. You need to do it at least once a day. You need to call these people. Do what you have to do. Thank you for listening. And if you like stuff like this, go ahead and subscribe. I'm going to continue to make more stuff like this, and I'm going to be adding some more of the countdown videos. I know some people like those, and other people like the podcast. And hopefully we'll be able to get past all this crazy news and make some better content that has actually to do with technology and all the great stuff in science.